The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, I'm Ryan Bowles, and these are your 10 o'clock news updates. The leaders for the three major parties in the upcoming election are engaging in a radio debate on CKNW today. This comes after the leaders spent much of Tuesday unveiling different aspects of their platforms. NDP leader David Eby was in Castlegar unveiling his party's new healthcare plan, while Green leader Sonia Furstenau announced planned corporate and property tax increases on the wealthiest in the province. Conservative leader John Rustad revealed his plan to scrap the NDP climate strategy and expand nuclear energy in BC. The leaders are scheduled for their only televised debate on October 8th. With more on what we're chasing on The Crow today, here's our producer, Tammy Mack. Kelowna RCMP are investigating an assault on a girl caught on video. Police say they're reviewing the video caught Friday night to identify all those involved, including witnesses. The RCMP say the attack is one of many incidents of youth crime in the city, including assault and mischief on a beachfront park. Mounties are asking anyone with information on this incident to contact police. An Indigenous woman in Coquitlam has filed a human rights complaint against a local Canadian Tire. Dawn Wilson says her father's bag was unfairly searched and was subjected to racist comments. Wilson says she wants people to be more aware of incidents like this.
One thing that I would like back is just the pieces of myself that I feel were taken. And I think that this is one step towards that by giving me strength to say, this isn't okay, not for me and not for anyone else. And if it takes me standing up to do that for my dad and I, then and other people, then it's worth it.
WorkSafe BC has announced new rules in regards to crane safety in the province. Employers in BC will now be required to submit 2 weeks' notice to WorkSafe BC before any crane operation begins. The new rules came into effect on October 1st in response to numerous crane collapses in the province in recent years. According to WorkSafe BC, there are 350 cranes in operation in BC. According to Statistics Canada, BC has the lowest fertility rate in the country. One reason for this could be the current economic climate. Our reporter Philip Kovacevic spoke with an SFU economics professor on the economic impact on birth rates.
Stats Canada released a report on the country's fertility rate in 2023. BC ranked the lowest with 1 child per each woman. Professor Doug Allen noted 2 reasons why less people are having children: the substitution effect and income effect. Professor Allen will explain the income effect.
So one of the things that's happening across the Western world over the last, really 150 years is that incomes are rising and people just want fewer children.
Philip Kovacevic, BCIT's The Crow.
The nominees for U.S. Vice President had their last chance to swing voters towards their respective running mates last night. Democrat Tim Walz met Republican opponent J.D. Vance in the only debate for the vice presidential candidates. Last night's debate was a stark contrast from the previous debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. The two candidates were civil and calm during the debate, only clashing once when Governor Walz challenged Senator Vance on the results of the 2020 election. Americans will cast their ballots on November 5th. The Israeli military is reporting minimal damage after Iran launched missiles in response to attacks that killed Hezbollah leaders. ABC's Marcus Moore reports from Beirut with local reactions.
There was a swift reaction from people here in Beirut. We heard spontaneous gunfire into the air, this happening in the streets. And there were also parts of Beirut where people were in the streets celebrating. They were cheering, some dancing to music.
Actor Daniel Day-Lewis is returning to the big screen. The There Will Be Blood actor says he's ending his retirement to appear in a film directed by his son Ronan. The new film, titled An Enemy, comes 7 years after Day-Lewis's last appearance on film. The actor announced his retirement in 2017 after appearing in Paul Thomas Anderson's film Phantom Thread. Those were your news updates to 10 o'clock. My name is Ryan Bowles, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good morning, my name is Keenan Tregaskis, and this is your sports update to 10:10. Last night's Atlanta Braves and San Diego Padres game began with some early game fireworks to open the scoring.
He swings, sends one high and deep to left. He's watching, so are 44,000 others. Oh, what a start for the Padres as Tatis leaves the building, and this place is on its feet. Padres lead it 2-0.
The home run by Tatis was the first of the 2024 playoffs and was enough to lead the Padres to a Game 1 win against the Braves. The 4-0 win was also backed by a dominant pitching performance by the Padres staff, where they struck out 15 Braves batters. Looking forward to today's playoff games, as all 4 games are once again in action. If history repeats itself, the Game 1 winners are set up nicely. Since the wildcard series began in 2022, Game 1 winners have won the series all 8 times, with only one series making it to Game 3. The Astros, Orioles, Brewers, and Braves look to change that trend. Once again, the Detroit Tigers and Houston Astros lead off the slate of games at 11:30 a.m. Following them is the Kansas City Royals and Baltimore Orioles at 1:30. In the National League, the New York Mets and Milwaukee Brewers begin at 4:30, and the Atlanta Braves look to avoid being swept for the first time since 2000 as they face the San Diego Padres at 5:30. On the ice, the first overall pick in the 2024 NHL draft, Macklin Celebrini left last night's San Jose Sharks preseason game early with an apparent injury. Celebrini sustained a lower body injury last night after crashing into a boards on a breakaway that was stopped by Utah's goalie Connor Ingram. Celebrini did not return to the game, and there is currently no update on when the first overall pick will return to the ice or how severe the injury is. Down in Vegas, the Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams said on his weekly spot on the Up and Adams show that he hadn't heard from Las Vegas head coach Antonio Pierce. The lack of communication might be related to a screenshot appearing to show Coach Pierce liking a social media post about the Raiders' star wide receiver possibly being traded. Adams' name regularly comes up in such rumors because his salary cap will rise dramatically next year. There is also a question of whether the Raiders might want to acquire assets for a potential rebuild. In the WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx evened up their best-of-5 semifinal series with a 77-70 win over the visiting Connecticut Sun. Courtney Williams scored 17 points for the Lynx, who dropped Game 1 on Sunday 73-70. Alyssa Thomas put up 18 points and 10 rebounds for the Sun, who will host Game 3 on Friday. In the earlier game, the New York Liberty grabbed a 2-0 lead in their semifinal series with an 88-84 win over the two-time defending champion Las Vegas Aces. Sticking with women's sports, the Vancouver Whitecaps women's team hosted their first ever CONCACAF Women's Champions Cup match. The historic game ended with a 2-0 win for the visiting San Diego Wave FC. The Whitecaps were outshot 32-2 and failed to register a shot on target in the 90-minute match. Staying with the Whitecaps, the men's team hosts the Seattle Sounders in the Cascadia Cup Finals tonight. If victorious, the Whitecaps will be crowned back-to-back champions of the Cascadia Cup for the first time since 2014. This game comes 1 week after the Whitecaps won the Canadian Championship, a trophy that they have won for 3 straight years. Kickoff for tonight's match is at 7:30 p.m. Over in Europe, the rest of the UCL field is playing their second UCL match day today. Following the same format as yesterday, 2 games are underway, kicking off at 9:45, while the other 7 begin at noon. Highlighting today's match day is England's Aston Villa, hosting their first Champions League game since the 1982-83 season, back when the competition was called the European Cup. Coming over to face them are Germany's Bayern Munich, who have not lost a group stage match since September 2017, bolstering a 41-game streak without a loss. That game starts at noon. Once again, I am Keenan Tregaskis, and this was your sports update to 1010.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.